All right. Welcome everybody. So we're going to do a quick intellectual interview. We're going to do a dissect of this discussion between the Fresh and Fit guy and Marcel. So here's a classic example of some of us read politics and we read policies, and some of us just watch TV or go off of what our best friend has told us. So the fresh and fit guy doesn't really read history, doesn't really read policy. He just goes off what the TV tell him or what his favorite friend has told him. Doesn't really have a plethora of information. And even though I'm not a fan of Marcel, I believe that's his name, Marcel. At least he has actual talking points that come from policy and come from political history. I mean, it's hard to defeat that. Just interrupting him doesn't mean that you know more than him on a particular topic. This is the problem with Dixiecrat conservatives. Dixiecrat conservatives are not what they believe they are. They think they're being for the country when really they're just Reaganites. They're just people who have been indoctrinated with a Reagan new conservative philosophy, which is bred in anti-blackness, anti-melanation. So under the Reagan philosophy, the fresh and fit guy wouldn't have even been you know loved or assisted. But in his mind. But let's be fair. Let's try to dig into this. I'm going to skip to the most interesting part because a lot of things Marcel said was kind of boring. But let's get to the most interesting part.
Bigots to feel too comfortable saying that they represent the white right or that they represent conservatism. There has been a unfortunate conflation of being conservative and being on the right with bigotry. And
So this is what I mean by Reaganite mentality. The Dixiecrat Republicans, the new conservative, the Dixiecrat conservative, way too comfortable being anti-black, way too comfortable dividing people and then claiming that other people are dividing. Republicans could have been got people on their side. Now, mind you, I've been a conservative since I was 16, but I knew what the Republicans were. But the Republicans are not conservative. These new Reaganites are not really conservative. They are old cotton picking Dixiecrats. They are just like the Clintons. The Clintons and the Reaganites are the same people, the same exact people. They are Ku Klux to their heart. So, and this is why I point out things like, remember the Tiki Torch guys when they were talking about you will not replace us. A couple of them guys turned out to be Russians. But see, this is what the Dixiecrat love. Dixiecrat loves Russians more than they love the black people who helped them in every war. The Dixiecrats, remember the spy Butina? Dixiecrats, Dixiecrat Republicans love the spy Butina, even though she's a Russian spy, because of how she looks. She's white with red hair. It's 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 the funniest thing when you know political history. But let's get into it.
that is something that the right is going to have to address. Why bigots sometimes feel more comfortable being blatant bigots on the right. Now, me, I like my bigotry blatant. I like to see who you are. Show me who you are, and I can deal with you accordingly.
True. We rather have your anti-blackness be out in front. Don't like the liberals or the uh, Democrats at all because they smile with their anti-blackness. which is why they hated Jimmy Carter so much. It isn't, you can't point to a policy because Jimmy had nothing to do with housing. You can't point to a policy because the Shah of Iran's thing happened before Jimmy even took office. You can't point to a policy because the darn Iran crisis happened before Jimmy took office. So you can't blame Jimmy for a lot of stuff. Uh, hey, what's going on, unknown one man? Just trying to do a real quick recap. Uh, Mr. Research page is my hub page, and I'm doing a recap for my uh, political page that I'm starting. But my point is that you can't. Uh, there's only two Democrats that I actually like, policy wise. But I can defend the policies. I can defend Jimmy Carter policies, especially versus Ronald Reagan policy. Most people can't even point to a Ronald Reagan policy that you actually like. NAFTA didn't do nothing for you, and it just destroyed the country and took away most of the union jobs. Uh, Helping Russia with the wall didn't do anything. Uh, yeah, I'm going to do links to the other channel. I'll post it on this channel. And then, when you read the book October Surprise by Barbara Honegger, you'll realize that, the whole Dixiecrats are just a real sinister type of people. But Republicans could have been got black people on their side. All you got to do is just stop verbalizing the anti-blackness. Just got to stop verbalizing.
But that's where that misconception comes from. And that's why sometimes you go on these college campuses and you get these little boule think they're elitist blacks. They are usually the ones who are really aligned with the far left. Most of the nastiness I have faced has not come from white conservatives. It has not come from the American patriot types. The nastiness I have faced, 98% of it has come from black.
So stop right there. That is absolutely true. It is a internal black problem, whether it's lower class blacks, middle class blacks. Uh, Black men speak up for anti-blackness more than white people do. On the job, in these political areas, it's always a black man getting up with his black face. Now he can be from Nigeria, he can be from uh, uh, Kazakhstan. It don't matter. For some reason, the "I'll do anything for a dollar" type of guy will use his black face and get up there and promote the most whitest of white talking points. And this is why white women saw in black women that black women were willing to fight for feminism more than white women were. This is a problem amongst black people, is that you up there, you're willing to weaponize yourself. You're willing to Tim Scott yourself for a couple of dollars. It's ridiculous. Let's dig into a little bit more.
People who thinks that being a Democrat is more important than being black. And even black Americans. That's where most of the nasties I face. That's where most of the slander I faces come from. That's where a lot of the
And that's a problem that we have with Roland Martin. Roland Martin sometimes promotes himself as wanting to be more of a black lady. No, take that back. More of a lady Democrat. I know he's a black man, but Roland promotes himself as more of a lady Democrat. He'll do and say anything for the ladies. It hurts him to defend black men against talking points black women do, even on his own show. And he'll dance for anything that these Hillary Clinton people say. No, bro, you gotta say something back to this Hillary Clinton type of nonsense, this Bill Clinton type of nonsense. It's the same problem we have over there with the Democrats. The Democrats sometimes will shuck and jive for anything. More black men need to be objective using nationalism, nationalism, notionalism. Okay, rather than using be objective, then rather than using emotionalism. Okay, I I hear it, but you would have to explain why. Why do they need to be more objective than emotionalism? Because by definition, everybody operates on trend. Oh, okay. Emotionalism. I'm about to say emotionalism is about trends. Emotionalism is about feelings and trends combined. So yeah, emotionalism. It's hard. We got so many insecure black men in the black community who don't know how to walk away from stuff, who just got to get angry. Facts do matter, details matter, documentation matters, documented history matters. Let's listen to some more of this because we're about to get to when the fresh and fit guy comes in.
Personal attacks I have faced has come from. Yes, I've gotten some hate messages from these one. I'm here in the South. Black Americans are just as much gun aficionados as white Southerners. Trust you, we are. But the right is missing.
There's some more creators coming. The reality is this, guys. Most Americans are fucking stupid. They don't understand how the world works. They don't have a.
So here comes the fresh and fit guy. Most Americans are stupid. Okay. Most Americans, white and black, and others, are misinformed. Doesn't make them stupid, just makes them misinformed. I could say the same thing about Sudan and Sudan people, which is where Myron is from. Most Sudan people are dumb to what the Arabs are teaching them. Islam does not work for Sudan. Sudan has existed before it was even called Sudan. The Blue Nile and the other Nile, I forget what the other Nile was called. Those things existed before there was an Egypt. That's why the Arabs want it so bad, so they can claim to their children that they were born there. It's a ploy. It's all a ploy. A lot want to be right. Stressful week managing your department. You know what, man? Just as a side note, Jonathan, you always got to take mental relaxation when you're managing people and managing stuff. You gotta take this past 3 weeks. I've done 4 half days. 4 half days. Came in at 1, punched out at 5. 6 days later, came in at 1 part, and I used my medical and my dental as a reason why I had to do it. You got to take these mental disconnects because people, it's a trip when you're dealing with people and you're dealing with these departments and you're just trying to have a good outcome, man. It's crazy. Let's dig into what Myron is going to say.
Passport. They've never left their state. They can't even name 3 countries a lot of the times, and they're idiots. And the thing is that the left is cooler nowadays.
So Americans never had to leave their state. They never had to leave their country. Before NAFTA, everything was made here. We were very self-contained and self-maintained. NAFTA destroyed that. So again, why would we have to know? It's just like saying a person who's born in Morocco would have to learn more about the rest of Africa. It's a silly, immature statement. It's just like saying a person born in Scotland needs to know about Brighton Beach, needs to know about darn Surrey. You don't have to know that. everything in Scotland is somewhat self-maintained if that's the life you want to live. What are you talking about? This is the problem with these anything for a dollar immigrants, man. That's why I call them Afadi. Afadi immigrants are totally different. Anything for a dollar immigrants. And every time you talk as anything for a dollar immigrant, it makes no sense. Because you're just looking at, look, I got a quarter. Look, Massa gave me $1. I've never had $1 before. And so what? Let's listen to some more.
It's cooler to be liberal. It's cooler to be super edgy and woke. That's what's cool. That's the problem with the conservative side for the long time.
I will agree with that.
Is that it hasn't been cool. Thankfully, there's some more creators coming out there that are conservative.
Oh, I hate when people interrupt. Why is Marcel interrupting?
There's some more creators coming. Hold on, let me finish my point, bro. Let me finish my point.
But we're 33. We're like,
let me finish my point.
5 million.
Marcel must not be able to hear. His connection must be bad.
You're lagging right now.
People who actually vote. First of all, Asian Americans are small.
One thing I hate about interrupting is when you want to make a point so bad, you can't hold on a minute. You can't grab a piece of paper and write it down. Oh, I just can't stand that. So I give Myron a point for dealing with that, because just interrupting, people let you speak, man. Let them speak. The audience wants to hear your point. They don't want to hear you just interrupt. Jonathan says, wow, sounds very good. I'm going to go on vacation soon, but I have a goal I'm trying to achieve. But you're right. All right. Question. Do you use a lot of Chat GPT? No, I don't. I don't use a lot of Chat GPT. I do have a speak and type function on my phone. I guess that's a version of Chat GPT. But if you're talking about the AI version that a lot of people are using, no, I don't really use it for typing stuff or getting stuff done. Not really. Type in the chat room, what are the benefits that you have found with Chat GPT for your personal life? Let's get back to what Myron is saying.
A contingent of the population, people still engage them, a huge percentage of the population. So it's not a waste of time. Just like it's not a waste of time.
It is.
Why? Just not like
They're not a majority, bro. And the reality is, if the way you're going to get the black voters is by giving them handouts, you guys cry about reparations.
So here go the handout arguments. I like what Marcel is going to say. That's why I kind of wanted to review this video. Coming here to America is a handout within itself. Coming here to America, going to Italy is a handout within itself, because that's you're saying you can't do it where you are originally born. You can't do it in your culture, so you have to go somewhere else that's easier. That's the funny thing. If we go to Sudan with a bunch of guns, just as let's say the Crips and Bloods go to Sudan with a bunch of guns. In 5-10 years, they'll take over. Let's say Haiti goes to Sudan with a bunch of guns, because all we're doing is killing. It's just who can kill the most and the fastest. So you go take it over, and then you say, well, these Sudan people, they don't understand, or they don't make no sense. It's no reason to do that. Myron keeps doing that type of stuff. Like, dude, you're benefiting from being here, but don't start getting flip mouth, because it isn't like Sudan is a win-win.
You guys want handouts all the time. That's just the reality. Let's call a spade a fucking spade.
And also, let's deal with handouts, because this country is built on handouts. England was giving handouts to the pilgrims. So if you don't like handouts, tell the founders of the country that they shouldn't have took handouts in the first place. What do you think the whole tea, coffee, and all this fight was about? not getting enough handouts. So what are you talking about? Oh, I'm not talking about then. I'm talking about now. Well, you got to talk about how the country was built. The country was built on handouts from Britain. Israel was built in 1931 from handouts from Britain. What are you talking about? Jonathan says the benefits. I like storytelling. I use it a lot for stories of morale behind it. Second, for AI voices, I created the celebrities like Keith David and James Earl Jones. Oh, okay. I would love to hear that. That would be interesting. Um, yeah, I would love to hear that. The problem is celebs can sue you if they found out you use their voice. I get you. I get you. Let me listen to some more of this.
The black community wants handouts all the time. That's what you guys want. So,
but doesn't Sudan want handouts also? Doesn't Sudan want to be left alone by the Arab League of Nations? Doesn't Chad want to stop fighting? But they keep putting guns in the middle of the war. I mean, when I found out that war was about cows grazing, I was like, oh my God. All this because behind cows. I know the Arabs put all these darn guns out here. Because the Arabs just sat there and watched them fight. So I don't know this handout argument that people always try to say. Because every immigrant gets a handout just by being here. Just by being here. If you're so proud about handouts, don't come to this country so you can have a better life, because that's a handout within itself. It's crazy.
Is it a handout when intern Japanese Americans or their children got reparations? Was it a handout when these Native American tribal governments get settlements that sometimes go to them with direct cash payments? Is it a handout when Holocaust survivors and their descendants get direct cash payment? Is it a handout when the downwinders get paid their reparations?
So let me ask you a question then. Since
see now this is another thing I hate. You make a point toward these. These 1999 dudes, they don't address the point. They said, let me ask you a question. And that's the let me ask you a question technique is just to derail. It has nothing to do with actual debating. It's just to derail. Was it a handout for those people who received those things? He avoids the whole thing and says, well, let me spin and ask you a question. This is immature.
You're a pro reparation guy. Let me ask you a question. Number one, how much money? Hold on. Yo,
you see how he avoid everything now? He's talking about how much money. I wish Marcel had said this. We're discussing it on Congress floor, and we take each step at a time. Okay. We haven't got to money because it has to be discussed on Congress floor. When we get to the point where we discuss on Congress floor, then we'll talk about money. But we have to follow the process of Congress. It's hilarious how people want to jump to money, and you giving Ukraine all this money right now. Ukraine ain't doing nothing for you. We gave a whole bunch of money to Egypt to help get rid of the president. We gave a whole bunch of money to Libya. We gave a whole bunch of money to ISIS/Syrian fighters. Assad must go, and he's still there. So what are you talking about, man? What is this money conversation?
Nobody can hear you, bro. Your internet sucks. Nobody can hear you. Your shit is lagging bad. Okay, fix your fucking dial-up internet that you got. Your AOL.
And then we go to the insults and the labels. That's why I said, man, anytime you talk to these 1999 dudes, man, there has to be some type of referee, because the childishness from the young dudes is just amazing. Jonathan says, I heard those conservatives on Twitter cursing Tommy out. Tommy does not stand up to white people. Tommy is very intimidated. Like what it's been like 4 white people who've cursed Tommy out over the years. Tommy's very insecure toward white people. When it comes to white people, man, he turns into a butler. he speaks all calm. That's why I be telling people, Tommy is a character. You know, his real name is Thomas Harris. Mr. Harris is a character, man. He's not real. he's just performing. That's another thing, man. We got to talk about these males who just be performing. It's not really who they are. Hold on for a minute. Let's go back to Myron.
You know, you're fucking. I just got online. Let me finish my point here, okay?
Okay.
Because you reparation guys
Myron.
always want handouts, and it's fucking ridiculous to me. Because here's my question: if you're gonna go ahead and say I want reparations, like all these other fucking crybabies, let me ask you.
Now he just avoided Marcel asking him, were all these other people, Asians and Italians, were they getting handouts? He avoided that whole thing, and now he's asking a spin technique question.
This number one, who's going to pay for it? Number two, how do we identify who deserves it and who's going to get it? Number three, how are we going to be able to trace back lineage to identify you as a foundationally Black American? How far back are we going to go? Like, none of this stuff actually makes sense. And this is the problem when you want handouts. Who's going to pay for it? How are you going to actually implement it?
I have answered those questions. So first of all, the payments will come from where it's always come from, the federal government, like it's
The middle class. The middle class.
And see, Myron says middle class. Myron has no data to say it's only going to come from the middle class. Myron is saying that to use it as a scare tactic for people listening. This is why I say this stuff is childish and it needs a referee, because the lying that people do just to try to get a win is ridiculous.
Because you're paying for it. The middle class is going to pay for it.
Answering your question. I'm answering your question. Number two, how do they identify who the foundational Black American? Before I even answer that, let's talk about handouts. You got a handout when your family was able to come here from war-torn, poverty-stricken Sudan. So let's not talk about handouts when I'm
Here we go.
When I'm speaking with a living, walking, talking handout right now. Number three, the government can identify who's a foundational Black American. Excuse me, you are talking to a man right now whose great-grandmother was raised by someone who was.
So that's the thing about who gets it and who don't. There are percentages or degrees of separation. The people who have the greatest claim have a stronger degree of separation. That's it. They're gonna come first. And more likely those people are gonna create some type of coalition for the people who are going to get the second and third phase. That's how that works, man. I mean, I just don't understand the need. And then we also going to have to, and to be fair to Myron's point, we also going to have people to police the people who try to scam the system. I mean, I personally feel like a bunch of like 20 or 30 Black men need to go on camera and say, hey, we're going to be the coalition of California. And if you're found scheming the system, we're going to find you 5, 10, 20 G's. We're going to seize your home. We are going to do that as Black men, not government, because you're trying to deceive the system. So if you come talking about your foundational, you better make sure you're 100% on that proof. Because we are 30 lawyers and we are going to civilly sue you if you try to deceive. I mean, you can do all type of stuff, man. Just even if you don't have no power to do it, just making the claim to people is something that needs to be said. Black men have to start policing other people. We just have to. Jonathan said the rule of debating is this: once you insult, shame, or show anger, you lost the game. Yeah, I mean, because it's ridiculous to just insult people or interrupt them constantly. Men are supposed to be calculated and objective. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, Myron is a 1999 dude. I mean, he's just recently turned 30. You know, I don't see him as a major factor in anything.
Formerly enslaved. My great grandmother died in 2015 at 101. That's how recent slavery was. Jim Crow and redlining, those things didn't enter to the 1970s. So you're easily able to identify who is a black American. Same arguments you're trying to make against reparations for us, you are not making against all those other groups I just named. Because I'm waiting for you to address the coal miners, the downwinders, the Native Americans, the intern Japanese, the Guamanians, the Holocaust survivors and their descendants, even though the Holocaust didn't even take place here on U.S. soil. If you're going to make
That is another great argument. Hey, this is why we need a referee, because we got to stop letting people get away with spinning to a different topic. How are we paying reparations to people for the Holocaust that didn't happen over here? Go talk to the Germans and the Polish and the Austrians. Shit, go talk to the darn people in Israel. But why are we using our tax dollars to pay for it? And we've been doing that since the 80s, if not longer. So, the fresh and fit guy, his argument doesn't hold weight. Because if he's so upset with that, he should be getting on the microphone telling the Jews the exact same thing.
those arguments against reparations for freemen, then you got to make those arguments. Those wealth is not built in a day in America. Anyone who's honest can tell you this. Wealth, billions of dollars invested, and
I'm here on a handout. Yep. So explain this to me then. Okay, I'm here on a handout, right? I'm here on a handout, but for some odd reason.
You see how Myron deflected again? He just keeps avoiding what's actually said and then comes up with a new circular argument.
My parents came here, didn't speak the language. We're able to make them something of themselves.
So your parents came here and didn't speak the language. Okay. Let's make this clear. Just because your parents came here and couldn't speak, according to you, any English, what year did they come? You got to tell me what year they came, because if it's Bush and Cheney, there was a war going on. If it's Bush and Cheney, I know Africans to hang out in flea markets for 5-6 years so they wouldn't get caught. That doesn't mean anything. What year did they come? What were they doing when they got here? There's a lot of discussion, man. If you try to introduce your parents as validation for this, that, and the third, what are the conditions? Where did they land at? Were they in Oklahoma, Montana? Were there someplace predominantly white? What was their first jobs? This stuff is relevant. Was they working for pennies? Was they sweeping people floors? Were they doing UPS? What were they doing? Because then after we get all that information, I'm not trying to insult your parents or have a gotcha moment, but after we get all that information, the next question is going to be, was your dad okay getting less money while everybody else was getting more? Or did he feel that he should get paid the same? Because once you start saying, well, he should get paid the same, now you understand politics. Now you understand what fairness is. It's easy to say, I came here and I subjugated myself. I came here and I allowed myself to be disrespected just so I could have something better than what I had. Anybody can do that. I can go to Italy and get called names all day and make some money and go to school because I'm not attached to Italy. I could do that. But If you're anything for a dollar type of person and you willing to do that and you have no pride, then of course you can do that. You can go to darn Transylvania tomorrow and go to Dracula's castle and let him sip your blood just for a couple of quarters. And then after Dracula sips your blood and you go home and you're like, look at my condo. Anybody can do that. That's not a flex. But do you leave Dracula's castle, go back to where you originally from, now that you got money, and start building? Or do you coward and stay in Dracula's castle because it's safe there? You don't care the fact that Dracula's killing people. You don't care that you came in the bedroom the other day, you saw Dracula with a little baby. You don't care about none of that. You don't care the fact that Dracula's still sipping your blood. Look at your condo. Man, get the hell out of here with that type of mentality.
House, earn 100K per year, and they never ask for a cent. But you're over here, born and raised here, American passport, English is your first language. You got.
He said, make 100K a year. What was he doing? So if you're saying he made 100K a year, let's say he was a professor or a scientist or something high level, the fact that he didn't speak a lick of English didn't mean anything. He came over and got a position that somebody wanted to give him so they wouldn't have to pay an American $250,000. Let's wake it up, brother. If your dad was getting 100K, he was getting 100K depending on what year he got here, because that company didn't want to pay the American the 200K or the $250,000 that they were supposed to pay them. So your father just came and took less money. He came to slave his way up. Matter of fact, I'm going to start saying that. Just because an immigrant came, got more money to slave them their way up to a condo, it's not a flex. It's not a win-win. Anybody can slave their way up, take less money, be subjugated. I mean, is that the message, man? Look, be subjugated and slave your way up. It's crazy, man. Stuff these Afadi immigrants be saying, man. Anything for $1.
Free education, yet you're crying and complaining about the very system that puts you in the position where you're at right now. That's what I'm trying to say. You guys aren't.
Free education, that only started happening in 1960. Even Africans had more education in 1960 and 1950 than American blacks did. What are you talking about? This shit is crazy.
Appreciative for shit. You just want to cry for reparations and handouts. That's the problem.
Visa, and they got it. And let me tell you,
your granddaddy deserved the money, not you, motherfucker. That's the difference.
Education.
I got a show to do. I got to
see. Your granddaddy deserved reparations. Somebody taught him that. That don't even make sense. Somebody taught him that, because we got people who are children of Holocaust survivors still talking about their parents. And anyway, Jonathan said, last question, what do I think about Kobe Bryant's parents not getting taken care of? So this is Kobe's father problem. This is why I'm going to do a couple of videos on failure of black fathers. Kobe's father was supposed to really put his hand on Kobe, and instead he treated Kobe like a product. You can't do that. So Kobe not taking care of his parents, it really comes from the fact that he didn't spend a lot of time around his parents. He was in Italy. He was playing ball. The only time he really interacted with his parents was, get-togethers, and it wasn't like he was coming in checking home all the time. He was really separated. Now, Vanessa's family are Mexican mafia. A lot of people don't know that. Didn't you see that tattoo on Kobe's arm? It's Mexican mafia. So when he disrespected Vanessa by sleeping with that chick at the golf course, that's when he tatted his arm. And he said, and I quote, I got this tattoo to respect Vanessa's family. It's not a regular tattoo, bro. And it just shows the mentality that Kobe had. Kobe was inconsistent. Kobe came into the league with a Bible telling everybody they was doing wrong, and then he became the biggest whore. That's just what it is. Kobe was an inconsistent person. He was a person who's typical church person. Hey, I'm gonna tell you how to live, but I'm not gonna live that way. Yeah. Look at his tattoo. Look at the tattoo on his arm. Look at the tattoo on his arm. And look at the speech he made about Vanessa's family. Yeah. Vanessa was a little thought, a little stripper chick, but she has a connection to her uncles. What you gonna do? Vanessa can get out there, model, give head, but you wasn't gonna slap her. You wasn't gonna slap Vanessa. No. You don't have no story of Vanessa getting roughed up or Vanessa was out there thotting it up, but you don't have no story because Vanessa had a little connection. And a lot of Latinas are like that. They out there sucking dick. They out there taking it on the face, but you ain't gonna beat them up. You ain't gonna pimp them out because they connected. So a lot of times people, man, this is why I say about the black community. Black community got to understand money is not the real power. Being connected is the real power. Money is not the real power. The fact that we're connected to City Hall or the fact that we're connected to a particular family, that's what it is. That's what it is. All right, I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. Much appreciation to Just Jonathan, Unknown One, chopping it in with me. I'm going to dissect this video up, but I had to do this video as a quick reply to just the inconsistency of the Afadi immigrant, man. The stuff that they be saying is crazy. Much love, and I'm going to catch you guys on the next one, man.